Mr. Johnson was an elderly man. He was a black man who had seen many years and many hard times. But today he looked calm and peaceful as he drove his old car to a gas station. The sun was high in the sky, and the heat made the air heavy. Mr. Johnson felt tired after a long week, but he needed to fill his car's tank before he went home. He parked near the fuel pump and stepped out slowly. His steps were careful but steady. The muscles in his hands were weak now, but he held his wallet with pride. He had worked hard all his life, and even though his body was old, his spirit was strong. At the gas station, a few police officers were standing by their car. They noticed Mr. Johnson as soon as he arrived. One officer whispered to another, pointing at the old man. "Look at him," the officer said quietly. "Why is he still driving around? He should be at home resting." Another officer laughed softly. "Yeah, what can an old man like him even do? Probably nothing." Mr. Johnson heard some of the whispers but chose to ignore them. He knew these officers did not know his story. They did not know that he was a war veteran who had served his country with honor. They had never met him before, and they only saw an old man, tired and worn. He started to pump the fuel into his car's tank. The sound of the fuel flowing was steady, and Mr. Johnson's hands moved slowly but carefully. The officers kept watching him. They whispered to each other, making rude comments about his clothes, his slow movements, and his gray hair. One officer said, "Look at him struggling with the pump. Maybe we should help him." Another officer laughed and said, "Nah, let him figure it out. He's probably used to asking for help." Mr. Johnson did not say anything. He finished paying for the fuel quietly at the counter. His eyes were calm, but inside he was remembering many things. The days when he was young and strong, the days when he fought for his country, the days when he was proud to wear his uniform. The officers did not know any of this. To them, he was just an old man, weak and slow. As Mr. Johnson walked back to his car, one officer laughed loudly in front of everyone. "What can an old man like him really do?" he said. The words were loud and clear, meant to be heard by everyone. But Mr. Johnson did not react. Instead, he looked straight at the officer. His face was calm, but his eyes were sharp and serious. It was a look that showed he was watching carefully. The camera of life seemed to focus on Mr. Johnson's quiet face. He did not speak, but his silence was louder than words. The officer who laughed did not know that the man he mocked had once saved many lives in dangerous places. Mr. Johnson got into his car slowly. He started the engine and looked once more at the police officers. There was no anger on his face, only a deep sadness. The sadness of being judged by strangers who did not know his worth. As he drove away, the officers whispered again. "He's just an old man," one said. But Mr. Johnson's mind was already somewhere else. He thought about his family, about his son Michael, who was far away now. Michael was no ordinary man, and he was a Delta Force commander, one of the best soldiers in the world. Michael had learned many things from his father, including pride, courage, and honor. Mr. Johnson knew that soon, Michael would hear about what happened at the gas station, and when he did, things would change. But for now, Mr. Johnson drove quietly. Through the streets, the sun was setting, painting the sky in orange and pink. He was tired, but his heart was strong. The old man had been through many battles, and he knew that respect was something that could never be taken away, even by the rude words of strangers. As he reached home, Mr. Johnson felt a strange feeling in his chest, a mix of sadness and hope. He hoped that one day people would see him for who he really was, not just for his age or his appearance. That night the police officers returned to their station, laughing about the old man. They did not know that this small moment would soon become a story of respect and honor. They did not know that the quiet veteran they mocked had a son who was the deadliest soldier in the country. The camera zoomed in on Mr. Johnson's calm face one last time as he looked at a photo of his son, a photo that showed a young man in a military uniform, ready to protect and serve. The officer's laughter faded into the night, and the story was just beginning. The next morning, Officer Ali woke up thinking about the elderly man he had seen at the gas station. The old man's calm face and quiet strength stayed in his mind. Ali wondered, why does he walk with such pride even when people mock him? Ali decided to find out more. He started his day early and went to the same gas station where Mr. Johnson stopped the day before. He hoped to see the man again. As the sun rose, the station slowly filled with customers. But Ali's eyes searched for one person, the elderly. And suddenly Ali spotted Mr. Johnson walking slowly towards the station. His back was bent, but his steps were steady. Ali decided to follow him from a distance, curious to learn why he came here every day. Mr. Johnson finished his fuel and quietly thanked the clerk. Then, instead of going home, he started walking down a long road. Ali followed in his car, keeping a safe distance. The road was quiet, and the air was cool with morning freshness. Mr. Johnson walked without hurry, his eyes focused ahead. Ali's curiosity grew. Why did this old man walk so far? The road stretched many miles ahead, and it looked like a long journey. After about 5 miles, Ali saw Mr. Johnson stop at a small park. There, he sat on a bench and took out a small, worn photo from his pocket. It was a picture of a young man in a military uniform. Ali's heart skipped a beat. Could this be the man's son, a soldier? Ali had heard stories about brave soldiers from the neighborhood. Mr. Johnson stared at the photo quietly, his lips moving as if whispering a prayer. Ali felt something inside him change. He began to feel respect for the old man. But just then, a group of young boys passed by and laughed loudly, making fun of Mr. Johnson's slow walk. Ali noticed Mr. Johnson did not react. He stayed calm, folding the photo and putting it away carefully. Ali decided to stop following for a moment and watch quietly. He wanted to understand more. As Mr. Johnson stood up to continue walking, Ali's radio crackled. It was his captain calling. Ali felt a sudden tension. Should he return or keep watching? But his curiosity was stronger. Ali followed again, keeping his distance. Mr. Johnson's journey continued through busy streets, past shops, and busy people who rarely noticed the quiet man walking miles every day. Ali began to feel guilty. How many people ignored Mr. Johnson's strength? How many judged him without knowing his story? Suddenly, Mr. Johnson stopped at a small building, a community center. Ali watched as he entered quietly. Inside, Mr. Johnson helped clean and prepare the place for the children's after-school program. He smiled warmly at the kids, who greeted him with love and respect. Ali was surprised. This old man was not just a veteran. He was a hero in his community. The radio crackled again, and this time Ali's captain ordered him to return. But Ali stayed for a while longer, watching Mr. Johnson's gentle kindness. Before leaving, Ali took a deep breath and decided to learn more about this man. Not just from what he saw, but from the truth behind the story. As Ali drove back to the station, he felt a new respect growing inside him. This was not just a walk to work or a simple man at a gas station. This was a man with a powerful story, a story Ali was only beginning to understand. After that day, Officer Ali couldn't stop thinking about Mr. Johnson. He wanted to know the full story behind the old man who walked with such quiet strength. Ali asked around quietly at the community center and nearby places. Some people said, Mr. Johnson was a veteran, but no one talked much about his past. It was like a secret wrapped in silence. One afternoon, Ali saw Mr. Johnson sitting alone on a bench near the park. This time, Ali gathered courage and walked up to him. "Sir, I'm sorry for the way people treated you," Ali said softly. "Can you tell me your story? I want to understand." Mr. Johnson looked at Ali for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. "I will tell you, but not here. Meet me tomorrow at the park after sunset." Ali agreed, feeling nervous but ready. The next day the sun was setting as Ali arrived at the park. The sky was orange and pink. Mr. Johnson was waiting on the same bench. He began to speak slowly, his voice calm but full of emotion. "I served in the military for many years," he said. "I was proud to serve my country. But war changes people. I lost my family, and I lost friends." Ali listened carefully as Mr. Johnson spoke about his son, a brave soldier who became one of the deadliest Delta Force commanders in history. The son was a hero, but his missions were secret, and very few knew about him. Mr. Johnson's eyes filled with tears as he told how proud he was, but how lonely life had become after his son's dangerous missions. Ali felt a deep respect. This man had carried pain quietly, without complaint. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps interrupted them. A group of young men passed by, sneering and whispering cruel words. Ali stood up quickly. "Enough," he said firmly. The young men stopped and looked surprised. "Respect this man," Ali said. "He is a hero." The young men left, but Ali saw the strength in Mr. Johnson's eyes. A strength that did not need to fight back with anger, only with patience and dignity. As night fell, Ali realized this meeting had changed him. He promised to protect Mr. Johnson and to learn more about the sacrifices hidden behind his calm face. A few days later, Mr. Johnson went to the local gas station to fill his old car. It was a quiet afternoon, but trouble was waiting. 2 police officers arrived. They looked around and then focused on Mr. Johnson. Without any clear reason, they started asking questions in a rude way. "Sir, why are you here so often? You look suspicious," one officer said harshly. Mr. Johnson stayed calm and answered politely, but the officers did not listen. They made fun of his slow movements and laughed at him. People around started to watch. Some looked uncomfortable, but no one said anything. Mr. Johnson's face showed pain, but he did not argue. Instead, he waited quietly, holding his head high. Unknown to the officers, his son was nearby, a highly trained Delta Force commander who had just returned from a secret mission. Suddenly, one of the officers pushed Mr. Johnson's shoulder. Roughly, the old man almost lost his balance. At that moment, a car engine roared nearby. The officers looked up. Out of the car stepped a tall, serious man in military-style clothes. It was Mr. Johnson's son. His eyes were cold and strong as he walked toward the gas station. Everyone could feel the change in the air. The officers stopped, confused and nervous. "What do you want here?" one officer asked, trying to hide his fear. The son looked at the officers calmly and said, "You don't know who you're messing with." The people watching held their breath. What would happen next? The story was far from over. Ali was ready to stand beside this silent hero, whatever it would take. Mr. Johnson's son, Marcus, stood tall and calm. His presence changed the whole scene. The officers suddenly looked unsure. Marcus spoke in a low, firm voice. "My father is a veteran. You have no right to treat him this way." One officer tried to hide his nervousness and said, "Sir, we were just asking questions." Marcus smiled slightly, but his eyes were serious. "I'm not here to argue. I just want respect for my father." The crowd watched quietly. Some people whispered to each other, surprised by Marcus's confidence. Marcus then showed his military duties. The officers' faces changed. They now understood who they were dealing with. Just then, Marcus's phone rang. He answered it quickly and said, "Yes, I'm here. Everything is under control." He turned back to the officers. "If you ever harass my father again, you will have to answer to me." The officers nodded, feeling the weight of his words. They backed away slowly. Marcus helped his father fill the gas tank. The old man smiled with relief. The crowd started, clapping quietly, showing respect for Mr. Johnson and his son. Marcus looked around and said, "It's time people learn to respect veterans, no matter their age." The officers left without another word. After the officers left, Mr. Johnson and Marcus stood by the gas pump. The old man looked at his son with pride. "Thank you for coming, Marcus," he said softly. "I was tired, but you gave me strength." Marcus smiled warmly. "Dad, you've always been my hero. I'm proud of you." The crowd around them began to cheer. People clapped and some wiped tears from their eyes. Word spread quickly about what happened at the gas station. Many people shared the story on social media. The officers who harassed Mr. Johnson faced a serious investigation. Their actions were exposed to the public. Marcus spoke to the media, saying, "Respect is earned by honor and sacrifice. We must treat all veterans with kindness." Mr. Johnson felt hope for the future. He knew his story could change how others see older veterans. As they drove home, Marcus promised, "I will always protect you, Dad, No one will disrespect you again." The old man smiled. For the first time in a long while, he felt truly safe and respected.